the CEO of Caesars Interactive, and also the chairman of Cirque du Soleil, Mitch Garber's relationship with René started in the poker world, and their path from Montreal to Las Vegas have crossed on many occasions. Without further delay, let me introduce you to Mr. Mitch Garber.
Thank you, and merci beaucoup. I have the honored distinction of being a Montrealer, a Quebecer, a Canadian, and a member of the Las Vegas gaming and entertainment community. I began my career as a gaming lawyer in 1992, and I met René in 1995. We went to the Mike Tyson-Pete McNeely fight here in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand together. But it was years later, when I came to Caesars and took over René's beloved World Series of Poker, that he paid me the biggest compliment of my career. Mitch, you know, you, me, Céline, and Guy Laliberté here in Vegas, it's not a coincidence. So please just remember to always be nice to everyone, because that's who we are. I heard two things. One was that René considered me, even if in some infinitesimally small way, to be part of the same club that he and Céline were in, Quebecers influencing Las Vegas. That, of course, was the compliment. And the second thing was a big lesson, that you can be successful and you can be nice at the very same time. Such a simple lesson. A simple lesson, but it's the reason why we are all here today. And it's the thing that his fans and his children need to remember and honor forever. That at the end of the day, this was a business and artistic genius, a devoted and worshiping husband, a doting and proud, committed father, and simply the nicest, kindest, and most generous man in the world. Kind and generous with time, with money, with words, with a smile, a handshake, a hug, and a God-given gift to make you feel like you were truly one of his best friends. And he made hundreds of us feel that way. Waiters, barbers, maitre d's, golf caddies, more waiters, waitresses, more maitre d's, poker dealers, more waiters. René made you feel special. Rudyard Kipling wrote in the poem If you can walk with kings and not lose the common touch, if all men count with you, but none too much. That's René and Céline, to walk with kings and not lose the common touch. Céline stood for nearly 7 hours at the public viewing of René in Montreal, greeting fans and friends. Who does this? Incredibly nice and humble people who have not lost the common touch. And what about the teamwork of René and Céline? René admired Colonel Tom Parker and Elvis, but this team, I believe, had much more. I think the greatest team in the history of show business, and that teamwork extended to parenting, to friendship, and to philanthropy. René was, of course, a raconteur, in an era where raconteurs are sadly becoming very rare. 2 years ago, he asked me where I was spending my Christmas holiday, and I told him I'm going to South Africa. And without missing a beat, he said, you know, Céline has the biggest selling album in the history of South Africa. Even bigger than Thriller, Mitch. So proud he was. I will miss his phone calls, by far my favorite phone calls. I remember one time René called, Mitch, René Angélil. I burst into laughter, and René on the other end said, why are you laughing? What's so funny? I said, René, you really don't have to say Angélil after René. First of all, I have call display, and second of all, you have voice display. The phone calls turned to texts. The texts turned to my text to René's friend Pierre Lacroix to relay to him old pictures, video clips of me talking on French TV about René. And René answered through Pierre until very recently, and now here we are. The raconteur is no longer with us. His stories and our stories of him, however, are with us forever. I mentioned René's generosity. Well, René taught me another lesson. René Angélil was the Rocky Marciano of paying for your meal. I would show up 15 minutes early to give the maitre d' my credit card. I'm sorry, Mr. Garber, Mr. Angélil already called. I would call the day before. I'm sorry, Mr. Angélil has called to make sure no one else can pay for this meal. I have slipped waiters extra cash to give them a tip, and they've handed the money back to me. I'm sorry, sir, we cannot accept your money. A Las Vegas waiter refusing a tip, only René Angélil could orchestrate that. So about 3 years ago, I was sure I finally had René beat. We had set up a golf game at his course near his home in Lake Las Vegas. We were teeing off at 10 a.m. I hadn't planned to play golf, so I showed up about 40 minutes early to make sure that I would be able to buy myself some balls, some tees, a golf hat. I get to the pro shop, there's nobody there. I gather the things I need. I come to the cashier. I lay my credit card on the table. I don't tell the cashier who I'm playing with, so there's no chance that René can pay. And as God is my witness and I stand here today, a little voice comes out of nowhere, and I hear, "No, no, no, you can't pay for anything. I've got this covered." I turn to the rack of golf clothing, and the voice was that of a 12-year-old René Charles Angélil. And I remember that day saying to myself, my God, there's two of them. So to Céline and to René's children and his brother, his beloved family, extended family, his friends, my heart does ache for you, but at the same time, this is a well-deserved celebration of a life that you were nice enough to share with us. It is who you are. Et finalement, un mot à Céline. J'espère que mes yeux sont aussi rayonnants, ouverts, lorsque je parle de ma femme, que ceux de René lorsqu'il parlait de toi. I hope that my eyes are as wide open with love when I talk about my wife as René's were when he talked about you. René, rest in peace, mon champion.